Hello and welcome to the Flenox YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be looking at the final part for JAMB Mathematics Past Question for 2023. We'll be solving the last 7 questions. If you've not watched part 1 to part 5, I will encourage you to do so, as I've addressed 50 questions that came out in the year 2023. I've included links to those videos in the description. As I'll be walking through these questions, if you have any question, please drop them in the comments and I will do well to respond to them as quickly as I can. Also, I've included links to tutorial videos that are going to be related to the topics that I'll be exploring in these questions, so do well to also give those a look if you want to deepen your understanding of these subjects. And finally, if you've not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that now and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified of new videos that I upload. And also give this video a big thumbs up if you find it useful. So without further ado, let's get started. So question 51 says, if D is equal to that, find D. Now in this case, we are told to find the determinant. That is what that symbol represents. Find the determinant of D. So the way we find the determinant first, for a 3 by 3 matrix, is you try to add cardinality to the first number in the top. What do I mean? We assign here a plus, here a minus, and here a plus. That is the cardinals of those 3 numbers at the top. So what do we do now? We take the first number 2 and we write it out, and we draw a line vertically down and horizontally across, and we write out the numbers that are remaining. Now what numbers are remaining? Numbers are remaining is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, which will be 1, 2, minus 3, and 1. Now we repeat it for the next number. Remember, we have a minus 1, but the cardinality here is minus. So we write minus, and we're gonna write minus 1. And we repeat the same. We draw a line down, and we draw a line across. And what numbers are we left with? We're left with 4, 2, 1, and 1. So we have 4, 2, 1, and 1. And finally, we take the last number, which is a 3, and the cardinality of the sign is what? Plus. So we have plus 3, and we repeat the same thing. We draw a line vertically down and horizontally across. And what numbers do we have left? 4, 1, 1, and minus 3. So you have 4, 1, 1, and minus 3. So what do we do now? We try to find the determinant of this 2 by 2 matrix. Now the way we find the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix is what? We multiply the diagonals and we subtract them from one another. So we say 1 times 1 is what? 1 minus, then we multiply the other diagonal. Minus 3 times minus 2 is what? Minus 6. So we have 1 minus minus 6. Now minus times minus is plus. So you have plus 1. Then we repeat the procedure here. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So you have 4 minus 2. Then finally we have plus 3. I have 4 times minus 3 is minus 12. And we have 1 times 1 is minus 1. So what does this become? This becomes 2 into bracket 1 minus times minus is plus. So plus 6. Plus 1 into bracket 4 minus 2 is 2, then plus 3 into bracket minus 12 minus 1 is minus 13, and that becomes 1 plus 6 is 7. Now 2 times 7 is what? You have 14, plus 1 times 2 is 2, and plus 3 times minus 13 is what? Minus 39. So 14 plus 2 is 16, and 16 minus 39 is what? Minus 23. And that means the determinant of this matrix is what? Is C. Moving on to the next question, we are told to find the equation of a straight line that passes through this point and is perpendicular to this line. So that means if this line is coming down, we know that it is perpendicular to this line, and the equation of this line is what? 3x plus 2y plus 4 is equal to 0. So how do we solve it? The way we solve it is that we know that if two lines are perpendicular, we know that their product of their slope is -1. So let me call this first line M1, and this the slope of this first line M1, and the slope of this second line M2. We know that if they are perpendicular, we know that M1 times M2 will be equals to -1. So what can we do? We can find the value of M2 so that we can use that to infer what the slope of the first line is, which will be M1, given this relationship. So how do we find M2? Now we know the equation of the second line, which is 3x plus 2y plus 4 is equals to 0. So what do? We try to rewrite this in the form of y is equals to mx plus c, so we can compare what the value of m will be. So this becomes what? 2y is equals to minus 3x minus 4, right? When you bring minus 3 and when you bring 3x and 4 to the other side. So now we can divide through by 2, and we have y is equals to what? Minus 3 over 2x minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now we can compare that with y is equals to mx plus c, and we can see that when we compare what the m will be, so we know that the m in this case is what? M is what? Minus 3 over 2, and that will be m2 in particular. So what will be m1, which is the slope of the first line? We know that m1 times m2 is -1, so m1 times m2 we found it to be minus 3 over 2 is equals to -1. So we can cross multiply. So we have minus 3m will be equals to 2 times m1 equals to 2 times -1, which will be what? -2. Then if we divide both sides by -3, this cancels out this, and we're left with what? M1 is equals to minus cancel minus, and we're left with what? 2 over 3. So the slope of the first line is what? 2 over 3. So we know that the slope of the line is what? 2 over 3, and we know that it passes through the point 2 minus 3. Now the equation of the straight line now is given as what? The slope m is equals to what? Or for the equation of the line, we know that the slope m is equals to y minus y1 over x minus x1. So we can call this x1 and call this y1, and our slope m is what? 2 over 3. So we can substitute that here. So we have 2 over 3 is equals to be y minus 3, right, over what? X minus 2. So we can cross multiply. This comes here, so we have 2 into bracket x minus 2 is equals to 3 into bracket y minus 3. So this becomes 2x minus 4 is equals to 3y minus 9. So I can try to collect like times. Oh, as you can see, y is in the other side of the equation, so I can bring this over here. So I have 2x minus 4 plus 9 equals to 3y, and this is the same thing as saying what? 2x minus 4 plus 9 will be plus 5 is equals to 3y, and this is the same thing also. I can just switch it over, and the same thing as saying 3y is equals to 2x plus 5, and that makes option D the correct option. Moving on to the next question, we are told that the third term of an arithmetic progression is 6 and the fifth term is 12. Find the sum of its first 12 terms. Now we know that the first term of an AP is given as A. That's the first term. The second term is given as what? As A plus D. Now the third term is given as what? A plus 2D. Now we can infer there, and we know that the fifth term now is just going to be what? A plus what? Plus 4D, because we have the first times A, then plus 4 times the common difference, and our fourth term, which I have skipped, will be A plus 3D. So now we thought that the third term, which is what? Third term is a plus 2d. A plus 2d. We are told that that is equals to what? 6. And the fifth term, which is what? A plus 4d. We have told is what? Is 12. Now, how can we find this? Is like a simultaneous equation, and how do we find the values of a and d? So we can subtract both equations from one another. So if we subtract them, a minus a we cancel out as 0, and 2d minus 4d will be minus 2d, and 6 minus 12 will be minus 6. So if I divide both sides by minus 2, minus 2 cancels out minus 2, minus cancel minus, and 6 divided by 2 is what? 6 divided by 2 is 3. So d is equals to 3. So to find the value of a, I can substitute it in any of this expression here. So a plus 2d, we've been told, is equals to 6, and I found that d is 3. So a plus 2 into bracket 3 is equals to 6. So this is the same thing as saying what? A plus 6 is equals to 6, and or a is equals to what? If I bring this to the other side, 6 minus 6, and that means a is equals to 0. So a is 0 and d is 3. Now, but the formula is asking us to find the sum of the first 12 terms. Now, the sum of the first 12 terms, Sn, is given as n over 2 into bracket 2a plus n minus 1d. Now, this is a formula that you should memorize, or you should know, be familiar with when dealing with AP. Now, n in this case is going to be 12 because we want to find the sum of the first 12 terms. So S12, or the sum of the first 12 terms, is going to be 12 over 2 into bracket a is 0, which we found, plus n is what? 12 minus 1, and our common difference is what? 3. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 12 minus 1 is 11, and 11 times 3 is what? 33. So that's just going to be what? 6 times 33. And 6 times 33 is what? 198. So the sum of the first 12 terms is what? Is 198, and that makes option C the correct option. For more clarity on arithmetic progression, I've included a link to a tutorial video on that in the description, so do well to check that out. Looking at question 54 now, we're told to find the volume of a cone which has a base radius of 5 and a slant height of 13 cm. So let's try to represent this diagrammatically. So we have a cone. Now this is the cone, forgive my drawing. Yeah, this is our cone. So we are told that what? The radius, which stands from the center to this point, is what? Is 5. And we are told that the slant height, which is the length of this slanting place, is what? Is 13. Now I've been told to find the volume. Now, the volume of a cone is given as what? 1 over 3 pi r squared h. Now we know what the radius is, but this h that we is the vertical height. In other words, the vertical height, which is the height from the tip of the cone to the base. But we do not know what this vertical height. Instead, we've been given the slant height. Now, if you look at this, you can see that this brings out what? Like a right angle triangle, and I'm going to just try to draw that out again. So this is like having a right angle triangle in which the slant height, which is what I've been given, is 13. The length at the base, which is the radius, is 5. I want to find the slant height here. Now, for our Pythagoras theorem, we know that the square of the two sides is going to be equal to the square of the hypotenuse, or in other words, h squared plus 5 squared, or the length, the square of the two shorter sides and their sum is going to be equal to the square of the hypotenuse. It's equal to 13 squared. So we know that h squared will be equal to what? 13 squared minus 5 squared. Now we know that h squared is equal to 13 squared is 169, and 5 squared is 25. So h squared equals to 169 minus 25, which is 144, and h should just be equal to what? The square root of 144 and that is equals to 12 centimeter. So I found the height, and the height is what, 12. So now we can find the volume. So the volume is just going to be equals to 1/3 times pi times the radius, which is 5 squared, times the height, which is 12. So 3 in 12 is what, 4. So this is just going to be, the volume is just going to be pi. 5 squared is what, times 25 times 4. And what is 25 times 4? 25 times 4 is 100. So the volume is just going to be what, 100 pi centimeter cube. And that makes option D the correct option. So moving on to question 55, we are told to solve for x in this inequality. So 3 into bracket x minus 1 is less than or equals to 2 into bracket x minus 3. So what do we do first? We need to expand. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3, is less than or equals to 2 times 3 is 2. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. So we collect like terms. So we bring this over here, the x terms to the left hand side. So 3x, when we bring this over here, becomes minus 2x less than or equals to minus 6. And we bring this minus 3 to the other side, plus 3. Now 3x minus 2x is going to be x less than or equals to minus 6 plus 3 is going to be minus 3. So the result is x is less than or equals to minus 3, and that makes option A the correct option. For more clarity on how to address questions relating to inequality, do check out my tutorial video, which you can find in the description, which you can find a link in the description below. Now, we're told in question 56 that 2 dice are tossed. What is the probability that the total score is a prime number? So the way, think about it, you have 2 dice, and forgive my drawing. You know that drawing dice have it has six sides, yeah, and for each of these sides is labeled 1 to 6. So you take the 2 dice and you toss them up. Now they're going to show 2 numbers on the face. Now when you sum those 2 numbers up, what is the probability that they are prime? So what do we do first? We first to try to see what the total combination of possibilities are. So for the first die, we can have, it can either show up a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. And now the second die also can either show up a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Now if both of them shows a 1, the first one shows a 1 and the second one shows a 1, the sum is going to be equals to 2. What if the first number shows a 1 and the second die shows 2? It's going to be 3. So we have to sum up all these numbers together to find out all the possible outcomes. So in this case, 2 plus 1 is 3. So you just have to sum them up, the corresponding numbers. And that is what I'm doing now. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. This becomes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So these are the sum of all the sums that can possibly come up when we toss 2 dice. Now the question is asking us the probability of finding a prime. So the probability of finding a prime will just be equal to the outcome that are prime, divided by the total possible outcomes. Now the total possible outcomes, now these are all the possible outcomes. Now which of them is prime? So the first thing we need to do is to count how many of them are prime. Remember, a prime number is a number that is only divisible by 1 and itself. So we know that 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number, 4 is not because 4 is divisible by 2, 5 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number here, 4 is not, 5 is, 7 is, 4 is not, 5 is, 6 is not, 7 is, 8 is not, 9 is not because 9 is divided by 3. 5 is, 6 is not, 7 is, 8 is not, 9 is not, 10 is not, 6 is not, 7 is, 8 is not, 9 is not, 10 is not, 11 is. And finally 7 is, 8 is not, 9 is not, 10 is not, 11 is, and 12 is not. So how many prime numbers do we have there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have 15. And what is the total number of possible outcomes? 36. When you count everything over here, all these possible outcomes are going to be 36 because you have 6 numbers here and you have 6 down. 6 times 6 gives us 36. So we have to simplify, and we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is going to give me 5, and 36 divided by 3 is going to give me 12. So when you simplify this to the lowest term, you're going to have 5 over 12, and that makes option A the correct option. So moving on to the final question for our JAMB past question for 2023. It's been a long ride and it feels really good to be at the end. So let's solve this question and see what it's all about. So we're told to find the area and perimeter of a square whose length of diagonals is 20 root 2. So as I always say, if possible, it's always good to draw your question, if that is possible, to give like a conceptual framework on how to address it. So in this case in particular, we're told we have a square. Now this is a square, and we know that the square, the length and the breadth are equal, but we'll only be given the length of the diagonal in this case, and we're told that the length of the diagonal is what? 20 root 2. 20 root 2. Now the question is asking us to find the area and the perimeter. So let's call the length of the square A. So we know that if here is A, here will also be A because it's a square. And now I can bring out this right angle triangle if you see that, because we're trying to find what the value of A is now. So if you look at this, I know that this length is what on my diagonal 20 root 2, and I know that both lengths are equal, A and A. And now this is my classic Pythagoras theorem. I know that the sum of the square of both sides is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. So I know that A squared plus A squared will be equal to what? 20 root 2 squared. So A squared plus A squared is what? 2x squared will be equal to 20 squared will be what? 400, and root 2 squared will be 2. So this is just same thing as saying what? 2a squared is equals to 400 times 2, which is 800. And if I divide both sides by 2, I have what? 2 cancels out 2, and I have a squared. A squared is equals to what? 400. So a will just be equals to the square root of what? 400, and that is equals to what? 20, because 20 times 20 is 400. So the length of my square is what? 20. Now, what is going to be my area? Area is just going to be my length squared, or length times length. In this case, I found the length to be 20. So my area is just going to be what? 20 times 20, and that is equals to what? 400 centimeter squared. Now what about the perimeter? The perimeter of a square is just what? 4L, because you have 4 sides and they are all of equal length, and that's just going to be what? 4 into bracket 20, and what is 4 times 20? That is going to be what? 80 centimeter. So the area is 400 cm squared and the perimeter is 20 centimeter, and that makes what? Option D the correct option. And that brings us to the end of our JAMB Mathematics Past Question for 2023. If you have any question, please drop them in the comment and I'll do it to respond to them. See you soon, and bye for now.